grind their fortresses beneath our treads. We will build impenetrable fortresses on each planet we conquer. Each step we take will be fortified. We will do this until Terra is ground to dust. If it takes us 1,000,000 years, so be it. Our will is iron, and our victory is inevitable.
Welcome to Days of Lore. Hello everybody and welcome back to Days of Lore. I am Ian, joined as always by Alex and Asher.
How's it going?
Hey everybody.
And today we will be discussing the battles and destruction wrought by the Iron Warriors across the Cadian Gate. Asher, you missed out on our episode last week.
Yes, I caught some of the highlights, and I will say, as much of a loyalist to the Imperium as I am, as a son of Dorne, I think having the arch nemesis of them being the Iron Warriors, it just makes them a really interesting faction.
I agree, because we are finally going back to who is the master of defense and who is the master of siege. And the Iron Warriors are really stepping up their game and showing just how grueling and slow they can be. And Perturabo, as we talked about last week, has been planning his next big invasion for the past 10,000 years. And his grand plan is called the Infinite Citadel. Perturabo sees in his mind a slow and deliberate invasion of the galaxy. City by city, world by world, system by system, the Infinite Citadel will expand, worlds will be harvested for their resources and turned into fortifications across the galaxy. He won't rush in like Horus did. The Iron Warriors will make sure every supply line is safe and every flank, if there are any, is secure. The Iron Warriors will create an interlocking network of fortifications across star systems. Artillery the size of cities will be built on moons. Flying fortresses will be built throughout the stars, slowly bulldozing everything beneath the iron boots and treads of Perturabo's legion. As they move, the next step is to plant Noctilith Menhirs to allow all demon Primarchs and demons to walk among the Infinite Citadel at will. And by the time he reaches the Sol System, he will have already won. And the first step to building the Infinite Citadel is the Cadian Gate. What do you think of the plan?
Well, like you said, he's had a long enough time to figure it out. From what I know from the Horus Heresy, I will agree that Horus kind of did just rush in there and try to do what he could. But then also, from what I've seen, Perturabo isn't always successful. So it will be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, guy who's never won is like, let me show you guys what it really is. This is the dude who's at the bottom of the lobby. And he's like, man, if we would have just done this, we would have won. Alex, what do you think about the plan?
I think it is clearly foolproof, and nothing could stop him.
Will the Infinite Citadel be successful?
I mean, who knows? It's tough to say.
As a Perturabo hater, I'm going to say no.
Okay. And why not?
Because he's Perturabo?
Alex?
I think in like in a serious way, I think probably because he's got too much ambition. I think he has too much. I hate to say it, I think he has too much trust in his own legion to be able to accomplish all these almost ridiculous feats.
I can see it not being successful because the Iron Warriors, it's in the name, they are warriors. They're not really builders. They are siege experts. They aren't really defense experts. They are really good at tearing things down. So I don't know how good they would be at building something so large and long lasting as Perturabo has planned.
I could believe that they'd be able to do the like first step of their plan, which is like sieging and being able to carve this path, but I just don't think they would be able to hold it.
Hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like just being out like just the first part, and then not have either the will, or the just the like even just the ability to hold it for a longer amount of time, like he's wanted.
Their will is iron, Asher.
And you also have to think too, like the further you go with this plan, the more stretched out your resources are.
Well, even if you are an Iron Warrior's warsmith, whether you believe the plan to be true or successful in the future or not, this is what Perturabo had to say to you. You will do it because it's what you were made for. Because no one else can. Most of all, you will do this because I command it. And I gotta say, right out of the gate, I'm not super inspired by my lord and commander and my dad being like, you're gonna conquer the galaxy, and the most important reason why is because I said so.
This man also has been like sitting in a chair with like a beer and watching TV for the past like 10,000 years.
Yeah, becoming a giant robot.
And they tells you to go mow the lawn because it's your responsibility.
Yeah.
Well, not even that. That would imply that there was a reason behind it. It's just because I told you to.
Right.
Yeah.
It's very arbitrary.
It's not like, yeah, guys, we can do this with the power of friendship. No, it's just, yeah, I really want to do this, so we're gonna do that.
I was gonna say, I also love how like if you go into a lot of stories, each Primarch or Demon Primarch, like the way they treat their legions, is so interesting because each one is like different. Like Perturaba's whole thing is they just basically doesn't care for them. They're a tool. That's all they are. And then you have like, there's the Fulgrim book, and like the way he treats him is just like, yeah, you guys are like okay, but like do this, and I'll give you a gold sticker, like a gold star.
That's really interesting.
Then I'll leave to get cigarettes and milk.
Yeah, and then his sons are like, hey, I've got a gold star, and Fulgrim's like, bro, I do not care.
Bro, I don't care.
I am the gold star.
He's like, hey, Fulcrum, I did this for you. And he's like, that was like 2 weeks ago, man. You're like way
New
too
phone,
late.
Who this?
Yeah.
Who is the guy that the 13 crusades on Cadia?
Uh-huh.
How do you pronounce his name?
Abaddon?
Abaddon the Despoiler.
Okay, I watched. It wasn't a 40K in 40 minutes. It was the channel that does the same thing.
Tabletop Tactics.
So I watched an entire like 40-minute episode of this guy calling him Abaddon.
Abaddon, yeah.
It's like what I heard Infinite Divide's way they pronounce Trazyn.
Trazyn! Okay, all right. Asher, welcome to the Infinite Citadel. Let's see if you remember your geography. If Perturabo and the Iron Legion are going to leave the Eye of Terror, where is the first place they will be?
Cadia.
Yes. So, Cadia is the first target out of the Eye of Terror, and Perturabo has selected the warsmith Kravik Morn to do his bidding. The overall target in the Cadian Gate is the Agrippina system, because that is where the Forge World is, and all those juicy supplies. But there are a few systems between the opening of the Eye of Terror and Agrippina, as we've discussed. Cadia is the first step, because, as we talked about, the Infinite Citadel is planet by planet. You cannot skip any steps. It is a slow and meticulous process. After Cadia will be the Tauros system, then Oladros, then it's Agrippina. So Kravik Morin has his work cut out for him getting to Agrippina, but he has a lot at his disposal. He has grand companies of his own warbands and other warsmiths. Not only that, he has Chaos Knights, the Dark Mechanicum is helping him, even some Traitor Titans are helping.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Plus, Perturabo struck a bargain with Vashtor the Archiphane of the Forge of Souls. If you don't know who Vashtor is, he was really important at the end of 9th edition and then kind of hasn't shown up. But he is the guy that made the Arcs of Omen, those giant space hulks. And Vashtor has secretly, very secretly, given some infernal help to the Iron Warriors, but only Perturabo and Kravik Morn know about it, because Vashtor is technically under contract with Abaddon the Despoiler.
Oh, interesting. So they're I know they're not all in quotations on the same team, but he's just, I can't remember what the corporate term for it is.
Vashtor, technically, he's basically an arms dealer. That's what he is.
Yeah, he just makes weapons.
Yeah. Also, I know that, so this is just going back to me being intro Warhammer guy. So I know that Titans exist, and the fact that they're just basically city-sized, walkers with guns on all over the place. It's never occurred to me, or even I don't think I've seen anything about it being Traitor or Chaos Titans. Is that common is probably not the right word, but that's a thing?
Oh yeah, especially during the Horus Heresy, you had full planets that were under the wars of the civil wars between Titans.
There's a really good Warhammer Plus show called Killing Lupercal.
Yeah.
Which is about Titans.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you get to see Titans fight each other.
I'm once again reminded how much I need to get Warhammer Plus.
Yes.
It's actually really good now with the new app too. It's worth it.
I'll have to,
Oh yeah.
I'll have to check it out.
I cannot recommend enough getting Warhammer Plus. And the subscription is good. You get a free figure, but then just the TV shows, all the stuff you have access to, painting tutorials is really nice. Again, we are not sponsored by GW. We are not GW employees. I just like their product a lot.
As we discussed last week, the Iron Warriors that are accompanying Warsmith Kravik Mor are very, very numerous. Kravik Morn's 17th Grand Company consists of 102 war bands of Iron Warriors. Along with him, you've got Warsmith Grace and Warsmith Backer. They have much smaller Grand Companies, but they bring the total to 188 war bands. Their first target is Cadia. Cadia was put under the control of Lord Iridax Quan by Abaddon the Despoiler. He and his war band, known as the Grave Robbers, are working to pillage and purge the husk that remains of Cadia. Quan's stronghold is known as the Ubulette, and it is a giant fortified castle with a big tower in the middle. The Grave Robbers are kind of a small force, and they definitely were not expecting it when a giant force of Iron Warriors appeared in system. Quan hails the Iron Warriors fleet, and he says, "Hey, what are you guys doing here?"
Oh, so this is really just hostile takeover. We don't even care that the forces of chaos have it already. But we need it, so we're coming through.
Yeah, because these are the Iron Warriors. These are not the Black Legion. Something that a lot of people don't understand about Chaos is it is every man for himself, survival of the fittest, and if you are not an Iron Warrior, you are an enemy. And everyone who is your ally is only an ally of convenience.
Even in the same war bands and forces, it's the same way.
Oh yeah, we talked about Renegades.
Yeah, it's a lot of cutthroat type stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean there's a sense of order in the sense of just you're gonna listen to me because I'm in charge, but there's really no other sense of honor. Obviously not honor because they're chaos, but there's no other emotion or anything tying them together that would be other than to be that cutthroat way.
Yeah, they care about honor when they say so, but then other times they're traitors.
I know in that Lucius book, there's a big talk about a Terminator, but he never like earned the Terminator armor. He basically every time he would go into battle, he would basically like take bits of Terminator armor from dead Terminators and then slowly build his own. And he never earned it. And everyone knows he never earned it. But are they going to stop a Terminator?
He's like, yeah, check out
That's
my
good.
Terminator armor. And then it's like he posts videos of him like magnet fishing battlefields.
We got a big one today.
Yeah.
It's attached to
normally, like-
Abaddon.
Because like normally, you know, like a Terminator, you would get it from getting a Terminator honor. You would have to have your Terminator honor first. Well, they don't care. They'll like if they see a dead Terminator on the ground, they'll probably just kill the person inside and take the armor.
Like you said, this is a hostile takeover. And when Quan asks what the Iron Warriors are doing there, he doesn't get a response that he expects. The Iron Warriors ships just start launching missiles at him.
Oh.
And that's when he thinks, maybe these guys are trying to kill me.
Oh, this is
And
the
he
point
does-
where...
Yeah. He sends a message back and he says, "Stop! In the name of the War Master!" And the only response that he gets back is Kravik Morn's voice laughing over the radio. The purge of Cadia has begun.
This was actually a very quick fight because Kravik Morn had been spying on Cadia for a very long time. He had sorcerers scrying the demon world, and he even had Vashtor the Arcaphane provide things called wiregens to go into the Black Legion's databanks and give him all the information of where their forces would be and when they would be there. Macrolanders descended to the surface and came under very heavy anti-air fire. Dark Mechanicum gun crews on the side of the Black Legion fire on Kravik Morn's forces. Thousands of traitor guardsmen and cultists start charging towards the Black Legion defenses as Helldrakes and Black Legion gunships are bombarding them. Now, the Black Legion was heavily outnumbered, but they were confident because they serve Abaddon the War Master. They weren't gonna give up. They weren't gonna surrender. And they would not be easily defeated. By the time the Iron Warriors' forces get down to the surface, a third of them are dead before they hit the ground. Lord Quan sends out a distress signal into the warp that says Cadia under attack by a superior enemy force. Lasting defense impossible. Employing countermeasures and delaying tactics. Send aid. As a surprise for the Iron Warriors, the Black Legion sorcerers conjure up a gigantic warp storm that ate one of the Iron Warrior ships called the Ogre's Shadow.
That's actually a really cool sounding ship. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, and too bad. It's
I know, yeah.
destroyed.
Too bad it's like completely
Yeah,
obliterated.
And it was funny because what the Black Legion did is they started firing at this ship, and it took evasive maneuvers into the storm and just disappeared.
This is the last time we're letting Kevin drive.
I'm about to be shot by an arrow, so I dodge out of the way off of a cliff to my death.
They'll never get me.
Quan readied his personal guard of Chosen. He had his sorcerers open up a portal in the command room of the Ubulite to send him out into the waste of Cadia so that they could make this a long and drawn-out battle. The Iron Warrior ships closed in on the Ubulite, but Quan was very confident that he would be able to get out in time with his portal. And then, all of a sudden, teleportation flares erupted around him. See, Kravik Morn had been running simulation after simulation, and he knew every place that the Black Legion might run to once they realized that they were heavily outnumbered. So, before the invasion even began, he sent tiny ships filled with Iron Warriors to land using the gravitational pull of Cadia to bring their ships silently and under the radar. Then, they laid traps at these escape routes throughout the Cadian deserts and wastelands. All around Cadia, as Black Legionnaires are trying to make their breakout escapes, the traps spring, and ambush after ambush destroy the Black Legionnaires. Not every one of them was successful. There is one story at a place called the Shatter Pit, where large geysers, molten rock, and sorcery were able to hide the escapes of the Black Legionnaires. In a place called the Living Swamp, the Iron Warriors couldn't really move because the swamp was trying to eat them. So they mistimed their ambush and they popped out way too early, and the Black Legionnaires are just like, uh, get out of the way, please. But Quan's forces are almost annihilated. As for Quan, when the teleporters go off, and Kravik Mor himself and his adamant internals hop into reality around him, the battle lasts about a few minutes. Black Legion champions are cut down. Quan and some of its champions do survive the initial attack, and they make the Adamant Eternals pay. They take down a few Adamant Eternals, but Quan's head is removed personally by Kravik Mor and his hammer. Last argument. None of the Black Legionnaires surrender, and they are soon cut down. The giant warp storm dies down, and having that initial victory, Morn says, okay, start landing the rest of the ships. It's time to go hunt these other traitors out in the landscapes of Cadia. So now, Cadia is under the command of the Iron Warriors. And that's just one planet in the 1,000 planet plan of Perturabo. The foundation of the Infinite Citadel has just been built.
Haha.
Okay, so progress report. We seem to be doing okay. I think it's really neat that gliders still have a place among military units in the 41st millennium.
Yep.
They're just like, yeah, shut off the engines. The planet's going to take us in. It just made me think of like the World War II, like gliders over D-Day kind of thing. And then they're like, yeah, we've been planning this for so long. We know exactly where you're going to be. So there's no point in trying to hide or trying to run.
Yeah. This is really like a D-Day, but like to the upteenth degree. Like it's so perfect.
I think
minus the 1/3 of all the forces being destroyed before they get to the planet.
Yeah, I will say that. So like I know during this progress report we seem to be doing okay. I think so. I talked about him just like he wasn't going to succeed just because he was Perturabo. I think to add some more explanation, I think this is going to start puffing up the sails. Like you said, there's still thousands of planets to go in this plan, right? But I think it's going to be like, oh, we got, this is going to go great. And then it's like he's going to have a lot of momentum and then something's going to happen and it's going to die down is I think where this is going to go.
Is it the like Nachman Gauntlet like really close to the Eye of Terror?
Yes, it is.
Isn't Abaddon like there right now?
Yes, he is.
So it's not like he's gone, guys. He went to the store. It's like, oh, he went down the block to get
He's
the
just
mail
in the bathroom. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. Last week we mentioned that the Iron Hands chapter, the Loyalist Space Marines, are sending in help. The distance from Medusa, which is the Iron Hands home planet, to Cadia is the same distance, I'm pretty sure, from Cadia to the Nachman Gauntlet. So that's how far Abaddon is. So, after the Cadia system is the Tauros system. And we mentioned in our first episode over the Eye of Terror that the Tauros system was just mentioned and there was nothing important here. And that's not entirely true. Because this is only mentioned when it comes to the Infinite Citadel, I decided to keep this kind of in our back pocket, along with another system later called the Oladros system. That was another one of those like, oh, the book doesn't mention anything about these. We lied. It was a deception of chaos because now they're under attack. Because you can never expect what chaos is going to do next.
Are they going to cut a hole in the floor right here?
They're going to try. The Tauros system did kind of go under the radar, even to Abaddon. He completely ignored it because he was more focused on the Nachman Gauntlet. And that was the key. It's just a small system, but it's a perfect place for Cadian refugees after the fall of Cadia to regroup and build up their defensives with contingency plans that have been in place for thousands of years. The governor militant of Tauros Tertium, her name is Margravale Ostwin, and she followed these emergency orders and built up huge fortresses and took in all of these new defenders, and they had time to build up because Tauros was such an insignificant place. And now, On Tauros Tertium, they have 3 great fortresses, and they are known as the Gauntlet, Grey Fathom, and the biggest one, the Tower of Detestation. These 3 fortresses are so powerful that after the fall of Cadia, Tauros Tertium became a bastion for Imperial defenders, even able to hold off invasions by World Eaters and Alpha Legionaries. And luckily enough for them, before Kravik Morn turned his sights on Tauros Tertium, Ursula Creed, the daughter of Cadia's last defender, Lord Castellan Ursakar Creed, brought her forces to Tauros Tertium. So she's back on her Cadia revenge tour. And with her, she has brought 7 Cadian regiments, 5 Thurnok regiments. At Tauros Tertium are planetary defense forces, about 200 muster banners and 80 scratch companies, 12 missions from the Sisters of Battle, and 4 Night Lances. But even with all of this, when they heard that the Iron Warriors were on their way, Ursula Creed and Governor Militant Oswin agreed to send out a call for aid. They would defend and stop the Iron Warriors in their tracks until reinforcements arrived. Kravik Morn doesn't care about them at all. He knows that Tauros Tertium is just a step in the direction of his main prize, which is Agrippina. So his plan is to just be there long enough, commit the defenders to survival so that he can focus on encircling the Agrippina system. For the Tauros system, it was very hard luck for the planets of Tauros Quartum and Tauros Septarius because they were crushed almost instantly. The main fight was on Tauros Tertium. The orbital defenses were hit very hard, but, Asher, with the numerous and well-armed veterans of the Navis Imperialis, they were able to hold out against the Iron Warriors for a total of 6 hours.
Okay.
And they were all killed.
We're getting the band
But
back
yes.
together. Do, 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 do.
Yeah, 6 hours. That's how long the orbital defenses lasted.
Nice.
This is because Kravik Morn just had such a disdain for the defenders of Tauros Tertium. His plan was very simple. Hit them hard. That's it. It wasn't this long, drawn-out plan. And it's so funny that the first planet that he invaded, Cadia, was years of planning and spying and sorcery and wiregens and intel and plans upon plans and secretly landing troops because he respected the Black Legion. He knew that they were worthy opponents. With these humans, he's just like, nah, full charge, let's go, let's just bowl over them. It's like, dude, it's planet number 2 in your plan, and you have already stopped planning.
Yeah, so this is kind of what I meant. Like, it's like you're, this is like almost like this is exactly what I was talking about. Where it's like they just let it the in quotes plan get ahead of them and be like, oh, we just wiped out a whole planet. The next one's gonna be super easy. It's just a bunch of humans on it. What are they gonna do?
What are they gonna do? Shoot us? So he thinks these humans are beneath him. And so his strategy is just a blunt attack. Landers come down under heavy fire. The Iron Warriors do create some initial beachheads in the Aquiline Plains near Grey Fathom and the Austrane Heights. But Ursula Creed was not just going to let these attackers go unanswered. She quickly mobilized counterattacks with tanks and mechanized infantry that surrounded the Iron Warriors on the Aquiline Plains and overran them. Like, boom, there's one beachhead secured. And huge artillery bombardments pummeled the Iron Warriors dug in the Austrane Heights, and they were struggling to survive. The defenders of Tauros Tertium counterattacked and counterattacked, but they couldn't hold back the unending waves of landers. Eventually, 4 more landing sites for the Iron Warriors were made, then another 6 as they started taking ground. And as they are taking ground, they are building fortresses using warp smiths and dark mechanicum servitors. As they are slowly encroaching on these 3 great fortresses, demon engines start to land, defilers. These war engines just keep getting bigger and bigger, and the Imperial forces are still trying to stall, and these hours turn into days and then weeks, and finally, all 3 of the fortresses are surrounded. And that's when Titans from the Legios Mortis and Furians started to land. Bold counterattacks were made by the lances of House Hawkshroud as they sallied out of the Tower of Detestation 3 separate times, led by Knights Destrier and Valiant.
I just love that they're so massive, but their lore and story is just medieval, like horses and like just like houses and stuff like that.
It's really cool. The Tower of Detestation was not going to be an easy thing to take down. It is a huge fortress. Like I said, it's the largest. And the main tower at the center of it is the core bastion, which was a mountain in and of itself, teeming with gun emplacements and turrets and barracks. Millions of Imperial soldiers and hundreds of thousands of tanks are defending just the Tower of Detestation alone. On top of this, they have overlapping void shields from generators and the knights defending the place. These shields were bombarded for days on end from Traitor Guard artillery, Dark Mechanicum field guns, bioweapons, megatons of explosives, ectoplasma missiles, Traitor Titans, and some of the defenders went mad just from the sensory overload of everything. Like, they lost their minds.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, and some of the soldiers in the trenches outside of the void shields were burned alive in fire. Some counterattacks were made by Navis Imperialis bombers and lances of House Hawkshroud. The defenders lasted so long that Kravik Morn actually gained a begrudging respect for Castellan Ursula Creed. For 10 whole days, this bombardment went on until the first real invasion began. From the east came tanks from the Traitor Guard and war engines from the 9th Never Guard and the 1st Liberated Saints. Warsmith Backer and his 8th Grand Company launched an assault from the south, with packs of Defilers and Forge Fiends and Traitor Titans. Kravik Morn attacked from the north, inside his Land Raider Harpaxis. Hours of fighting ensued, siege towers ground forward, but it wasn't all successful. Another attack by House Hawkshroud killed the Traitor Titan Repugnant Vermis, and its reactor overloaded and obliterated everything in a quarter-mile radius.
Jeez.
Yeah. Kravik Morn's assault was the most successful. He was the only one able to breach the walls of the Tower of Detestation. To the east, the Traitor Guard had been halted by elements of the Cadian 8th. That's the Castellan's own, the do-or-die, the personal bodyguard to the Castellan. Warsmith Backer was able to break through the trench line, but he was stopped at the walls of the Tower of Detestation. Morn knew that he was doing well, but all of a sudden, over the radio, he hears panicked screaming, and he sees something that he hates more than anything in the world. Flashes of yellow. The Sons of Dorn have arrived.
Yes.
Gunships and landers from the Black Templars and Imperial Fists under the command of Castellan Zvyland and Captain Darnith Lysander, respectively, crash into the Iron Warriors using heavy gunships, deploying impulsors, repulsors, gladiators, dreadnoughts, terminators, and Darnith Lysander himself. The flow of battle changes in an instant. Repulsor tanks in bright yellow livery destroy Iron Warrior Predators and Vindicator tanks. Darnith Lysander himself takes on a siege tower head-on and pushes it over with explosive charges.
Oh my God.
Castellan Zvyland and his Black Templars are able to surround a horde of Iron Warriors and Traitor Guardsmen troops besieging the walls, and the book says that the resultant slaughter was nothing short of butchery. Meanwhile, inside the Tower of Detestation, Ursula Creed is still screaming over the main intercom in Voxhaler with her words of command and encouragement, and that's all the defenders needed, along with the Space Marines, to keep pushing the Iron Warriors back. And now Kravik Morn needs to make a decision. If he stays committed to the battle, he will be surrounded, and he wants nothing more than to just keep charging ahead and kill Darnith Lysander and the Imperial Fists. But he's a better commander than that. He knew that he had the advantage of taking the orbital platforms earlier, so he calls a retreat and the Iron Warriors have to pull back and cut their way free of the fortress's outer defenses. The Imperial Fists and Black Templars inflict as many casualties as they can until they have to pull back to beef up the defenses of the Tower of Detestation. And Kravik Morn says, "All right, I'm done. I've got other stuff to do. Warsmith Backer, you're in command." Morn takes his 17th Grand Company and their support elements, and he's like, "I'm making my way towards Agrippina. I've got other planets to take over." Tauros Tertium was still under the hands of the Imperium, but it's surrounded and besieged and has turned into a meat grinder.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I love that it's just like, it's like Batman and the Joker. The Joker is just like, Iron Warriors are just going to a bunch of candidates like, what is that? It's just yellow coming towards them. It's like their arch nemesis.
Yeah. Ah! I love that so far we have discussed 2 invasions, and the whole plan that we said at the beginning is we're going to go city by city, planet by planet, and we're going to make sure that we leave no flank exposed. And on Cadia, we still have Black Legionaries there, and Kravik Morn leaves. Now we're besieging Tauros Tertium. We didn't win, and now we're leaving and moving on to the next planet.
I was just about to ask, because I know that the Black Legionnaires probably isn't as much of a force as what, from not losing, I guess they did a tactical withdrawal and moving on, but it's like you're not following the plan he spent 10,000 years working on.
Right.
Like, that's the whole point, was to go, like, to make sure that there was no way it would fall apart. And all you're doing is like, okay, I've got other stuff to do. This just isn't working. I'm going to move on. No, like, you're supposed to take it and then move on.
It's like what I said. He put a lot of trust into his boys doing the job.
I love it when we throw the plan in the trash can.
It's like a football head coach throwing away his playbook, leaving the locker room before the game even starts. He's like, all right, I got it. Yeah. Now that he's leaving, he's putting the next steps of his plan in motion. The simultaneous invasions of the Oladros, Trove, and Vindara systems. So that's 3 systems that he is invading on top of the Tauros system. So he's really spreading his forces thin, but he's on the clock if he wants to keep the schedule that Perturabo has made for him. Reminder, he only started with 188 warbands, which, 5 to 15 soldiers per warband. That's only like 2,000 Iron Warriors on a good day, and he's already left some troops at Cadia. So this is gonna be wild. The reason that he's doing this is because the Trove system is to the west of Agrippina, Oladros is to the north, and Vindara is to the east. These 3 systems are the only stable warp supply routes to Agrippina. If Kravik Morn can take these systems and cut off the supply to Agrippina, then the Forge World will easily fall, and the Infinite Citadel will have immense resources at its disposal. Now, the Fabricator General of Agrippina knows the risk. Her name is Cradwalden Null, but we'll just call her Fabricator General Null. She knows that these supply routes are vulnerable, and that's why she has spread her forces so thin to defend these other systems. She calls for help, and it's answered by our girl, Archmagos Terminus Thulia Gould. As we discussed last week, she is bringing with her 3,000 tech priests, 5 macroclades of Scutari, 23 knight lances, and 5 Ordinatus engines. Now, Asher, you know of at least one Ordinatus engine.
I do.
The Ordinatus Armageddon.
Oh, yeah, that's the massive gun, right?
Yeah, she has 5 of those.
Oh. All right, we'll be fine. Yeah, we got this.
Yeah. She has 5 of those things.
Yeah, just point them over there. That's where they're coming from. We'll be all right.
I would think that she's like standing in the middle and be like, "We did it, guys. We did it, Kravik Morn." Or not Cannonball. What's the other one? Kanok-Var.
Kanok-Var.
Kanok-Va. Kanok-Va. He's like, we did it, Kanok-Va. We saved the system, and everything's covered in fire.
She cut the planet in half.
Yeah.
And when Gould arrives, she quickly says, "Hey, I'm in charge now. Also, open up those vaults, because we're going to need some of those weapons that you have in your vaults to fight the traitors." So there goes Gould again, stealing some stuff. Not only that, but some of the battle fleets from the Toro system, those orbital defenders that only lasted 6 hours, some of them survived and were able to retreat back to Agrippina. So even better. And what's best is that the Space Marine chapter of the Iron Hands, along with Kanok-Var, have answered the call to defend their Mechanicus allies. Thulia Gould quickly starts to download all the information of shipping lanes and defense numbers, how many soldiers are where, and she comes up with a plan. Her plan is to take most of her forces and the Iron Hands to attack one of the 3 systems to ensure that at least one supply route stays open. She and Kanok-Var pick the Oladros system. And this is a bold and risky strategy. They risk leaving Agrippina vulnerable to attacks from the Trove and Vendara systems. And what if Gould is defeated? Then Agrippina won't have any defenders. But it's a risk we're willing to take.
I will say, it sounds awesome. She's got these 5 just massive Titan killer cannons, but like it is, you're stretched across, like you said, is it 3-4 systems now, trying to fend off these attacks. And it was like, yes, the Iron Hands have shown up. Kanok-Var is there, who has an awesome model, by the way. I love that model. I don't know. It seems like we're leaning back slightly towards the Iron Warriors, like pulling one out and like.
Well, what you just said makes me realize that I need to make a clarification. Gould is leaving Trove and Vendara to their own defenders.
Oh, they're not even.
She is taking her.
Oh.
No. She is taking her entire army and all of the Iron Hands, and they are going to go to one system to defend it. They're going to put all their eggs in one basket.
Okay. Or sorry, at least the Iron Warriors will get a couple systems as long as they don't screw it up somehow, I guess. But why would they not? Are they just choosing it as a barricade before the Agrippina system? Or why would they choose that one over instead of just rallying it all at Agrippina?
Well, if they were to just defend Agrippina and let the Iron Warriors take Trove, Oladros, and Vendara.
Oh, it's a supply route. You said that. Okay, so there was a supply route thing. Now, after you highlighted what exactly she was doing, I lost track, but now I'm back on it. That makes sense. They need the supply route, and they could still somewhat defend Agrippina from their position, but they have to defend the Oladros system.
Yeah, because Oladros is between Tauros and Agrippina. So as she is scanning all of this data, and she is looking at reports from these 3 systems, she comes to the conclusion that Kravik Morn will have the bulk of his forces in the Oladros system because it's closest to where he's coming from. And that's why she's going to go in force there, because she thinks that the other 2 systems won't have as much of an Iron Warriors force attacking them, so they can hold out a little bit longer.
Right. And so they know that he's basically packed his bags and is just booking it towards the Agrippina. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, they know. She knows what his plan is, and in the book it also says she remarked on its brutal simplicity. So she's like, yeah, of course this is what a mortal space marine would think of.
It might be simple, but beware, he might not even follow the plan.
Yeah. He's got the element of surprise on his side because he doesn't know what he's doing. Alex is gonna take over the Oladros system invasion, but Asher, I just want to do a shout out for you. You remember the Titans from Hell's Reach?
Yes, I remember the one that Grimaldus was talking with.
Yeah. So that royal house of Titans
Mm-hmm.
is called Legio Invigilata,
Okay.
and they are mentioned in this battle.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So Alex, will you take over the Oladros system invasion?
The Allegro system is another one that we decided to keep out of episode 7 because we only get important information about it when it's being invaded. When they get to the Allegro system, they see that the 3 inhabited planets are under siege by the Iron Warriors. The planets of Allegros Beta, Allegros Delphos, and Allegros Gemini. The capital of the system was Allegros Delphos, and that is where Gold and Var agreed to defend. They sent some forces to Beta and Gemini, but Delphos was where the bulk of their armies went. Over a number of days and through blizzards across the planet, Gold and Var counter-invade the planet and set up a defensive front line across most of the planet's equator. They also make sure to set up defenses and counterattacks on the 9 moons of Allegros Delphos to keep control of the orbital defenses. Gravik Mor is here, and he decides to commit his forces in the tundra fields to topple the capital hive city of Hasek. If he could destroy this, then Gold's counteroffensive would fail, and the Imperium's morale would shatter. He led a huge army of warships, Helldrakes, Hellblades, and almost all the remaining soldiers from his 17th Grand Company. Dozens of Traitor Guard regiments, war engines, Chaos Knights, Demon engines, Dark Mechanicum, artillery, and Titans from the Legios Mortis, Furion, and Volturum support him as well. Gold answers in kind with her own defense along the base of the mountain hive. Macro artillery crashed into the Traitor Guard forces with shells the size of land raiders. Her Ordinatus engines fired and toppled Titans and Knights alike. Entire divisions were killed in single blasts. Morn sends aerial strikes to bombard these artillery positions, but they just keep firing. The 2 armies crashed against each other like a hammer and anvil. Infantry died by the thousands each second as Titans and Ordinatus engines engaged in brutal combat. The houses of Knights Tyrannus, Raven, and Krast engaged the traitors Knights of House Naw, Comentus, and Chimere. Defilers and Demon engines slew Skitarii and Iron Hands alike. Of this cacophony of brutality, Gravik Mor and his Adamant Eternals met Thelia Gould's Skitarii and Hastari in a headlong charge. Above them, the traitor Titans of Mortis fought against the Legio Invigilata. Gould has set up a great defense and was able to destroy most of Gravik Morn's spearhead of Land Raiders and Rhinos. But Morn's Land Raider was able to meet its mark and spew forth Chaos Terminators and slaughter Skitarii as Iron Warrior Obliterators teleported down.
This is just absolutely chaotic. Like, I don't mean to, like, oh, the Chaos Wizardry is this chaotic, but, like, this is insane.
No, so each book that we've been reading has had its own kind of warfare with it. The special game that you could play that came with the Eye of Terror book is called Apocalypse, and it tells you to put as many models on the table as you can.
Oh my god.
It literally tells you, go to your shelf and dust off your old models and just gather them together and play a game. It tells you how long it's going to take. It even tells you to take bathroom breaks.
That's awesome. But yeah, no, this is like absolutely insane because this is like kind of like the Avengers Endgame. You know, all the portals are opening. It feels like, and just like.
Okay, but wait, there is an on your left moment in this battle.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Also, this is like the first time that we've talked about like one of these engagements where it's been actually like a battle and less of like a little skirmish.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like with the invasion of Tauros, it was, you know, it was kind of a siege, but it wasn't like a one-on-one like tons of match like how this is in the sense of like strength. You know what I mean? I'm sure like the defenders of Tauros, you know, obviously they held out once the Imperial Fists arrived, but yeah, like this is just like there's just so much happening. Like I'm trying to imagine all this in my head, and it's just insanity.
It's a lot. And especially like going from 500 Worlds and Maelstrom, where it's been like a little thing here and there. Like you have the two big characters engaging in battle.
Yeah.
So basically, the lines of Skitarii begin to give away. Morn seized the initiative and charged Ghoul and her bodyguard. Last argument and the Rod of War exploded against each other into sparks as both warriors locked into combat with cyber-augmented bodies and minds. Gould held her own, smashing aside an adamant eternal like he was a scrap of paper. Despite her upgrades and years of experience, Kravik Mor was a son of Perturabo, and a living weapon. He was able to catch aside one of Gould's strikes and deliver blow after blow with his Warhammer. Normally, this would kill anybody. But because Gould had been so augmented, she was able to survive long enough for a fanatical Skitarii to drag her away and get between her and Morn.
On your left.
Before Morn could pursue, Canoc Var and his veterans slammed down from a transport into the fray.
Nice.
The Iron Hands were outnumbered, but were fresh to the fight and were also cybernetically augmented. Var engaged more, but their fight did not last long, as warning flares went up across every single display and HUD on the battlefield. Traitor Guardsmen, Skitarii, Iron Warriors, and Iron Hands all started to run in panic because one of the Titans of Legio Invigilata was struck and the reactor inside was about to go critical. Canoc Var gets picked up by his Thunderhawk gunship and is quickly taken away. Meanwhile, Morn got back to his Land Raider, Harpaxis, and sped away as fast as he could. The Titan exploded, and for a split second, a new star was born on the battlefield.
Oh my god.
Most of the Skitarii, Iron Warriors, and Traitor Guard that had been committed to the battle were instantly killed. The only Land Raiders that remained for Kravik Morns were his own and two others, and even these were severely damaged. Fresh reinforcements came to bolster the defenders' line. Morn, seeing his forces severely crippled, ordered the retreat. He committed a small force of soldiers to keep the battle raging, but he knew no swift victory could be achieved. The Battle of Ankellen Tundra Fields would go on. Isaac Hive would fall eventually. After that, the planet. Then it was on to Agrippina. However long that would take, he was unsure. But he would make sure that his oath to Perturabo were fulfilled.
So we got like a put it in reverse Terry moment, and I consistently like don't fully imagine the scale of everything. Like we've talked about the void ships before, and just the absolute monstrosity that those are, and we've talked about the Titans kind of back and forth here, and you know, I guess it just doesn't occur to me consistently about like the amount of power that these things take and what an explosion like that would actually render on a battlefield. And, you know, it would essentially just be a star opening up, you know,
Yeah.
and just absolutely devastating everything.
The destruction is so bad that Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper start singing.
We're going to cut that, or
A Star is Born. Tell me something, girl.
please leave this in. So like I said, I really enjoyed that he's just like Canoc Var jumps off of a transport and does like a superhero landing and is like, all right, you want to go? Let's go. And
Fights for 2 seconds. And
Yeah.
he's like, I gotta get out of here.
I like to think it's that buff fish from SpongeBob in the like Olympics where he's like, I gotta get out of here.
Too late. So these are the 3 main battles that we have going on in this book. What do you think, Asher?
Yeah, so it's a lot going on. I will say I enjoyed the one with the Imperial Fists on Tauros, with the Imperial Fist showing up. This one is probably my favorite of the ones we've covered so far, just because it's just like nonsense, essentially. There's just so much happening. This is such a great example of what you imagine a battlefield in 40K being. You know, thousands and hundreds of thousands of troops fighting each other, and then, a star igniting in the center of it, and everyone just dying, and then everyone's like, well, now that that's over, where were we? And going like right back at it is just insane.
Well, to give you a few updates, one thing that I like that the book provides for us is communications sent from the various warsmiths on these battlefronts to Perturabo himself. Because he's stuck in the warp right now. He can't get out because he's a big demon Primarch.
That's kind of what the Infinite Citadel is, to get him to where it needs to be.
Oh,
right.
Oh, okay. So the whole it's just like the 13, just knocking down the pylons like Abaddon did, and it's like this is just a way to get him.
But he's like,
except this time we're building them.
Yeah,
instead of building them, they're basically making they're extending the Eye of Terror, like they're making their own little trail of warp energy so that Perturabo can make his way.
Oh, okay. Well, that's the plan.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah.
We might not need that plan, but
so we'll go to the Toro system first with Warsmith Backer and his 8th Grand Company. He's the one that's besieging the Tower of Detestation. And he reports that Toros Quartum has been secured. All the remaining Imperial forces are either being recruited or sacrificed. On Toro Septarius, there's more resistance from Imperial Guard elites and the Knights of House Hawkshroud. Whatever those elites are, we don't know. Maybe it's like Kasserkin. Those are kind of like the stormtroopers for the Cadians. Of the 3 grand fortresses on Tauros Tertium, Backer reports that the fortress The Gauntlet is 80% conquered, and victory should be achieved within 15 days. Greyfathom, however, is only 28% captured, and Backer reports that there are, quote, alpha-class enemy elites defending the fortress, and it says they're unidentified, so I have no idea who is defending this fortress so well.
That's crazy.
Against Space Marines.
Super powerful, yeah.
It's just Ogrins.
I was gonna think it's just that picture of the guy in the desert, screaming, and there's the tornado behind him.
Yeah.
That's what it is. The Iron Warrior.
Warsmith Backer. Oh my god. We don't know what that means, and he urgently requests reinforcements to help take that fortress. Where is Warsmith Backer in all this? He is personally taking his command squad to Greyfathom. That's how bad Greyfathom is kicking in the Iron Warriors. As for the Tower of Detestation, he claims that they are 40% complete, and it is a slow advance harried by repeated counterattacks by the Imperial Fists and Black Templars. And unfortunately, he does note that there are heavy casualties amongst the Black Templars. He also does make a note that Ursula Creed's presence has made sure that the morale of the defenders is unbroken, and he has sent in kill teams to assassinate her. If all goes to plan, victory should be achieved in 65 standard days. So that is the Tauros system report by Warsmith Backer. Again, nothing is complete, and they are struggling. Up next is Warsmith Descartes' report from the Cadian occupation and the 17th Grand Company. He reports that Cadia is secured, and the only Black Legion forces remaining are very few and are only worried about their own survival, and they will be dealt with soon. As for the other planets in the Cadian system, Kasser Sonin is 80% purged, and Makaria is 50% complete, but they are dealing with Sisters of Battle that have supernatural resistance to empiric assaults. So they are unable to use a lot of warp magic against these Sisters of Battle for some reason. They are also dealing with some Black Legion warships throughout the system, but are making progress in planting Blackstone formations, and they are starting to lay the keystone of the Infinite Citadel.
Wait, so they really are just rebuilding the stuff?
Yes.
Yeah,
at the beginning of the episode, we mentioned that they are building a system of Noctilith menhirs. Noctilith is Blackstone, and a menhir is just a standing stone, like Stonehenge.
Okay.
So To open the Cadian Gate, we had to destroy the Blackstone pylons, and now to open it, we're planting Blackstone pylons?
Well, Blackstone is like a magnet. So it's got like two ways. It can enhance warp energy or it can nullify warp energy.
Exactly what I was going to say.
Have you ever seen or played Space Marine 2?
Yeah.
Okay. You know how they have to take. You've played all the way.
Yeah,
through,
at the
though,
end
right?
they've got to flip the pylons to shut down the.
Flip the pylons. That's what they're doing.
Oh, okay.
Like they have it set to like. They have it set to enhancing warp,
M,
flipping it to nullify.
but they need to set it to W for Wumbo.
Set to, for
Yeah. Okay. That makes a whole lot of everything's kind of clicking more in my head. I just thought they were out to like go kill everything. I didn't realize they were like going and like building Oblivion gates at every stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The final report that we have is from the Agrippina Encirclement and the Aledros Front from Warsmith Kravik himself. He reports that the Loyalist counteroffensive was unexpected, and their response was way ahead of time. And with 250% of their original estimated resistance. The conflict on Aledros Beta has been deadlocked. On Aledros Gemini, they are 77% complete with the takeover, but are dealing with a toxic atmosphere. The grand event that we're dealing with on the capital world Aledros Delphos, he reports that the situation is fluid, and that the Supreme Commander was severely wounded at Ansalon Tundra Fields. He's talking about Gould there. Casualties are high on both sides. Reinforcements are moving into position. And he says situation updates to follow. So out of all these, Morn is the one failing.
Yeah, I was about to say he tried to very poetically say like, it's happening. And like his report was way shorter.
Yeah.
It's so funny too because of course he's the one who got the model, but he's the one who's doing the worst.
And he does have a really cool model.
Really?
Yes. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
you should look at him. He's got like the Iron Warrior's grill face. He's got like a flamethrower on his back.
Oh, whoa.
He's got cataphracti Terminator armor, which is like I think some of the coolest Terminator armor.
Yeah. Did you find it, Asher?
Holy smokes. Oh, yeah, that's cool. I love the shoulders from those Terminator armors.
Yeah. The last thing that this book does give us is the reaction to all this. Across the galaxy, the actions of Perturabo and his Iron Warriors are felt. In the chamber of the Eldar Eldrad Uthran, he sees a premonition and a message in his runes, and he sees destruction on a scale unimaginable, and he knows that Perturabo's actions cannot be permitted, and his craft world must once again combat this existential threat. Lord Castellan Ursula Creed's call for aid rings across the galaxy, and she states that she has planted the standard of the Cadian Eighth on Tauros Tertium, and she says that anyone who calls themselves a Cadian must answer the defense of this world. Dozens of Cadian regiments across the galaxy muster and make their way to the defense of Tauros Tertium, and this time they promise their Lord Castellan they will not fail. But the last thing this book gives us, the most important one, on board the Phalanx, the mobile fortress home of the Imperial Fists, a call for aid bearing the personal seal of First Captain Darnith Lysander emerges. The chapter master of the Imperial Fists takes the message and knows they must combat the forces of the Iron Warriors, their age-old foes, and that the Imperial Fist's successor chapter's banners must be called to aid. If the Iron Warriors are going to be stopped, the Sons of Dorn are the ones who are going to do it. Which is a great piece of lore, because we don't know who the chapter master of the Imperial Fists is.
Someday they'll get a chapter master.
Is it not Lysander?
No, he's the first captain.
No.
Oh.
Wasn't he going to be the chapter master and something happened?
They offered it to him, and then he said, no, I want to be the first captain. That's, in our last episode, he's the 3-time first captain of the first company. And on the last one, they offered him chapter master, and he said, no, I like Terminator armor. Well, we go back to my question from the beginning of this episode. Will the Infinite Citadel be successful?
Throne, no. It will not. I don't think so.
I don't So, like I said, my answer at the beginning was just more of a joke at Perturabo being Perturabo, but it's not even Perturabo that's making this go badly. it's There's just so much happening, and especially with the defense of all of like the Cadians on Toro and the Mechanicus, just everything going on, especially, and then all the successor chapters getting called in, the Imperial Fist successors getting called in. There's like, it's already not going well, and not everybody is involved, and so this is it. I just don't think it's going to go very well. And I didn't even realize this when we started talking about it. Perturabo's not even there. He's like on house arrest, and he's getting updates via like his smartwatch, essentially, and just that's the only thing he's getting told. He can't see what's going on. He doesn't know that planets are getting ignored and skipped, and that 10,000 years worth of planning is going down the drain.
Yeah, and we're only at the first step.
His goal is to get to the soul system.
Yeah, it's like he's taken all this time to draw out this plan, and literally on planet 2, he was like, "All right, I'm gonna head out."
Man made a goal to like walk a mile and only was able to open his door.
I think it was a valiant effort to plan it, and like I'm sure the plan looked awesome on paper. I'm gonna hammer down. It's not gonna work unless there has been, like you mentioned, there's been a lot of these on your left moments from the Imperium. Unless a lot of these start happening from the Chaos side, I just don't think it's gonna happen. I know that they've just got the strength and the force from what I've seen, what you guys have been telling me, but I just don't think I don't think it's gonna happen.
I was gonna say the first thing he did was basically destroy any hope of having support from the Black Legion.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah. So yeah, it's like, hey, we're on the same team. No.
The only success that they've had is beating the literal graveyard shift of the Black Legion on Cadia. And they didn't even do that to completion. The only other help that they could have is from Vastor, but he's hamstrung by his contract that he has with Abaddon, who, like Alex just said, Perturabo has just betrayed.
I love that for this group who's so prepared. It's like, yes, we've done the simulations and we've done all of this stuff and we have it down to a science of exactly how this is gonna go. And the first siege they do against Cadia, a majority of their ambushes just don't work.
Yeah, it's just I guess this plays into from what I've seen in the Horus Heresy of just Perturabo in the forces just failing, in an almost comedic sense. This just kind of lines up with that. Like I said, they spent 10,000 years planning this for it to just have continuous failures and then just ignoring planets that need attention.
And this is what Alex and I talked about last week, is it must be that he has been planning this for 10,000 years, but the final plan that he finally set in motion might have been only 100 years, because he looks at something and he's like, oh, things have changed. And then he plans a little bit more and he's like, oh, the situation has changed. What's that saying? A perfect plan doesn't survive contact with the enemy. It's why did you not plan that these planets might have reinforcements? What are you thinking? You know that the Imperium is moving around. How could you think that this would just be okay?
Well, another thing I thought of too is, even if, let's just say, they do take the time and Cadia is completely rid of, Abaddon's forces there. Then they move on to, Tauros was the next system, right?
Yes.
And that planet is systematically, they take the time, fully time. At this point, they could probably guess where they're going, right?
Yeah.
And so, because it has to take that systematically, meticulous time to get through that, everything that's happening to these other planets could literally, the Imperium can still fortify and establish, because would it not be just very clear where they're going to, so they know, oh, they're turning left here, let's just block that while they're busy, down the street.
Thulia Gould was on Agrippina for 2 seconds and realized that Kravik Morn was going to Aledros next.
Yeah, that's...
Like, it's so predictable.
What's also so funny is like Perturabo during the Horus Heresy. This is how Perturabo wanted to get to Terra as well. Like during the Horus Heresy, like we said like Horus was in a rush to get there, and Perturabo didn't like the plan, and that's why he kind of gave up halfway through, because he wanted to do it like this. He wanted to slowly, like methodically, go through like each system until he gets to Terra, so that he can like fully just dominate the Sol system. But if you look at it like with what you know now about how Purdy works, that would have never worked in the first place. Like Horus's plan was probably the best plan they had.
Yeah, if Perturabo would have just stayed there, they might have won. And with his like expertise on building some things, they might have been able to have a good defense against the Ultramarines when they got there. I think they still would have lost, but they would have for sure killed the Emperor if he would have stayed.
I think we need to sit down, have a one-on-one with Perturabo, and really just kind of, talk about the pros and cons of planning.
Yeah. Well, this has been our final episode on the Eye of Terror book. We have got a beast ahead of us.
We have a lot.
Because, yeah, guess where we're going next, Asher?
Could it be?
We're finally going back to Armageddon.
Whoa!
Well, thank you everybody for listening. If you enjoyed this podcast, please let us know on the comments of YouTube or Spotify where you can find us. On our descriptions on YouTube, you can find a link to our Discord channel. You can follow us on Instagram at Old Days of Lore. And if you have any questions or requests for research, or if you want to correct us on anything, please email us at olddaysoflore@gmail.com. Thank you for listening to Days of Lore.
See you guys next time.
See ya.